Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another Monster Hunter Generations video and another episode of the Weapon Workshop. Last week we took a look at the light bowgun, and this week for the final episode we're turning our attention to the heavier counterpart, the heavy bowgun. And there are now tutorials for all 14 weapons on the channel, and you can find a link to the complete playlist in the description box down below if you've missed any. But now let's turn our attention to today's weapon. Starting things off in Gild Style, this is where you will feel most at home coming over from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, the main difference off the bat being your ability to equip 2 hunting arts. However, much like the light bowgun, the heavy bowgun also has some changes in Generations. In fact, the changes are pretty much the same as that of the light bowgun, but in the event that you missed that video, then here's a quick recap. First of all, the option to remove the limiter on the heavy bowgun has been removed. When upgrading your heavy bowgun, you can now either level it up using the top option, attach a shield with the second option, throw out a power barrel for increased damage using the third option, and purchase an improved scope that allows you to zoom using the fourth option. Aside from that, there's nothing else to it. Limiter removal isn't a thing in Generations. On top of that, the other main change with the heavy bowgun, again same as the light bowgun, is the notion of inbuilt shots. When scrolling through your ammo, if you see a shot with a dark blue background, that means it's an inbuilt shot. You can't buy ammo for this, it doesn't take up any inventory space, and it comes with the gun every time you go on a hunt. Some built-in shots even have siege mode, sadly not available in this weapon, but if it did, then the background would be both blue and green. Now beyond that, the only other major new things are some of the shot types. However, as mentioned in my light bowgun tutorial, it doesn't make sense to cover them just yet because I'd spend half my time translating from Japanese. So for the shot types, I'll do a follow-up video once the game launches in the West. That way you'll have a weapon tutorial and an in-depth video on shot types, and that should cover all your bowgun needs. So for the time being, let's now turn our attention to the weapon itself. Pressing X with your weapon sheath will draw the weapon, and pressing X a second time will load your currently selected ammo type. Holding down L and pressing X or B will allow you to cycle through the available ammo, and again once you find the one you want, pressing X will load that ammo. Bear in mind that not all bowguns support all bullet types, and if you take a look at the equipment details page you can see exactly what bullet types are supported. Pressing A will then fire your shot, and at the top of the screen you can track how many rounds you have left, and once you're empty, pressing X will reload your weapon. Pressing B will then allow you to roll, sadly no back hop like with the bowgun, but this is of course the heavier of the two after all. The heavy bowgun is about power, whereas the light bowgun is about speed, mobility and support. So as a result of that, moving around with this weapon drawn out is pretty slow. Now pressing R will switch into first person mode, and from here you can shoot, change ammo types, reload and aim your reticle. The only thing you can't do is move. But if things get hectic you can press B to roll out. Alternatively, if you hold down R, it brings up this third person aiming reticle, and with this you can move, aim, shoot all at the same time. But again, due to the heavy bowgun's weight, you won't exactly be running and gunning. Finally, something that the light bowgun doesn't have, and that is siege mode. If you press X and A together, you'll crouch down and you'll enter siege mode. In this mode, you can only fire shots that support siege, and those are the ones with the green backgrounds. You're able to fire these shots much quicker, and as you can see by the ammo counter at the top, you can also fire far more shots before having to reload. Once you're out of ammo, however, you will need to exit siege mode in order to reload, and pressing B will exit this stance, but do bear in mind that you can't roll out of it. So if a monster's charging straight at you, you won't be moving quickly out of this, so only use it if it's safe. It's also worth noting that you can use siege shots normally, outside of siege mode, but they do of course adhere to the regular ammo counter. Also, if you go into siege mode when you're empty, you'll also reload the gun in the process. Now moving away from that for a second, jumping off a ledge, if you press X you'll perform a rifle smack, and if you press A, you'll fire a shot provided your ammo is loaded. Now one final note, just like bow and light bowgun, heavy bowgun also has what is called critical distance. This is basically the optimal range at which you should be when firing shots to deal the most damage. Too far or too close and you're wasting your time. If your screen shakes when shooting a monster, that means that you're at critical distance. But if it remains still like this, then you're either too far away or too near. Now different shot types have different critical distances, and it's of course down to you to learn the distances for each. But once you get it down, especially thanks to something like siege mode, it's pretty easy to maintain that distance and deal damage. And that's pretty much it. That is all there is to Gild Style. Pretty much the same as what you're used to from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, minus the new changes. Now moving over to Striker Style. The main draw for this, in fact the only draw for this style, will be your ability to equip 3 hunting arts. And the reason I say that is because the only difference between Striker Style and Gild Style is that Striker Style loses siege mode. Everything else is the same. Shoot, reload, roll, just no siege. So as mentioned, if you feel like having all 3 hunter arts is a worthy replacement for siege mode, then sure, go wild. But if you're not comfortable losing one of Heavy Bowgun's most powerful features, then you might want to reconsider. Moving over to Aerial Style. Firstly, this style only allows the use of one hunting art, so be wise with your choice. Aerial also sees the return of Siege mode, only this time with some rather awesome additions. Pressing X and A will again put you in Siege mode, only in Aerial Style you can press B to roll out of it, which makes it much safer to use in a pinch. What's more, if you hold down X after rolling, you'll immediately re-enter Siege mode once the roll is finished, which means you can siege up, dish out some nice damage, roll out the way, and continue to fire. Plus remember that each time you enter Siege mode, you reload your gun too, so used correctly this could be pretty potent. Beyond that, all the other moves are the same. X to load, reload, A to shoot, R to aim, B to roll out, although your neutral B is now a hop and you use this to jump off monsters. Now if you jump off a monster with your weapon sheathed and you press X, you'll perform a rifle smack. If you press Arekkz and A together with your weapon sheathed, provided you previously loaded your ammo, then you'll perform a shot whilst jumping over the monster. Do this with regular shots and you'll fire a single bullet, but if you do this with siege ammo, then you will fire multiple shots. Alternatively, with your weapon drawn, jumping off a monster and doing nothing else will reload your currently selected ammo. Pressing X will do a rifle smack. Pressing A will shoot a single bullet, and pressing X and A together will vault over the monster shooting downwards. Again, a normal shot does one bullet, and a siege shot does multiple. However, when you land, you face the direction that you came from, i.e. back at the monster you just jumped over. And if you press X upon landing, you'll enter siege mode, which then means you can leap over a monster, land, siege up, and dish out some more damage. Pretty lethal combination if you ask me. It'll take some getting used to, especially trying to land the shots, but there's no denying that this is fun. Finally, moving over to Bushido Style. Again, this style only allows the use of one hunting art, so choose wisely. Also, much like Aerial Style, you can roll out of Siege mode in any direction you like. And again, holding X will allow you to re-enter Siege mode. You can even roll backwards and turn to face the opposite direction when re-entering Siege mode, which is handy if something jumps over you. Beyond that, the base moves are the same, but the real fun comes after a Bushido or an Adept evade. Rolling through a monster's attack will trigger the evade, and from there you have a series of options. With your weapon sheathed, an Adept evade will lead straight into a power run. This is a fast run that can put some good distance between you and the monster, you have pretty good control whilst running, and you run pretty fast. However, with your weapon drawn, performing an Adept evade will then trigger a power reload. The same as the light bowgun, this powers off your shots for a short period of time, as you can see depicted by the blue background behind the ammo. However, if you press X before the power reload, you'll go straight into a power run, and of course you'll skip the reload. Alternatively, if you press X after the power reload, you'll go into Siege mode. And as I'm sure you can imagine, using Siege mode with more powerful shots is a pretty nice combination. Finally, before we wrap things up, let's take a quick look at the 3 weapon-specific hunter arts. First up, you have Supernova. This is a special shot that results in a massive mid-air explosion that affects a wide area. It also takes a little bit of time to complete, so don't use it in panic situations. Ensure that if you do land the shot, you get your money's worth. Moving on from there, you then have Acceleration Shower. This is a godsend for this weapon. It's a special shower or a buff that gives your hunter increased movement speed, lighter recoil, and faster reload speeds. And as mentioned, for a big, heavy weapon like Heavy Bowgun, this is a very nice skill to have. Finally, you have Load Gunpowder. This loads a special coating that increases the power of your shots. So again, pair this with one of your more powerful shots or perhaps Siege mode, and you have a nice opportunity to dish out some pretty serious damage. So, now that we've taken a look at all the styles and the associated hunting arts, the question remains, which style do I like the best? And for me, it's gotta be Gild. Again, as I mentioned in my last video, I'm not really a huge fan of bowguns, so perhaps I'm not the best judge on this, but for me personally, Gild Style has access to all the new features, plus the ability to equip 2 hunting arts, and given that Acceleration Shower and Load Gunpowder are the only ones you'll really need, then there's little need to go Striker and in turn lose Siege mode. That being said, I do really like Aerial Style just for its over-the-top performance. My only gripe with it is that a lot of the shots tend to miss, so while you might feel like a badass flying through the sky, if you're not hitting anything, then it's of little use. So for me, personally, I'd go Gild, but again, the choice is ultimately up to you. Now that's it for this video, and that's also it for the weapon workshops. For the time being, that is all 14 weapons covered. So if you've missed any of them, then check out the playlist down below. But starting next week, I'll have some more and different Monster Hunter videos for you, so keep it locked on the channel for more Monster Hunter Generations. But for the time being, if you guys did enjoy this video, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below and let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.